The vast emptiness of space had always made humanity wonder if we were alone. That question was answered on a quiet Tuesday morning when massive warships appeared in high orbit above Earth, sleek vessels of impossible scale that blotted out the stars themselves. The Galactic Empire had arrived, their fleet stretching from horizon to horizon in an awesome display of technological superiority. I remember watching the live feeds from the orbital defense platforms, my hands trembling as I gripped my coffee mug in the Space Force Command Center. As Chief of Xenocommunications, I had spent years preparing for first contact, but nothing could have truly prepared us for this moment. The Empire's ships were works of art, all sweeping curves and gleaming metal that seemed to drink in the sunlight. Their first transmission was simple: submit or be destroyed. Classic conquering alien behavior, really. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that humanity had been preparing for this exact scenario for centuries, not through building bigger guns or stronger shields, but through understanding the one thing that truly makes us unique in the cosmos: our capacity for both incredible violence and profound mercy. When we sent back our response, it wasn't a surrender. It wasn't even a threat. It was a warning, one born from the countless wars that had shaped our species. We transmitted historical footage of every major conflict in human history, from ancient battles to modern warfare. We showed them the horrors we were capable of, the lengths we would go to protect our home. But more importantly, we showed them how each conflict had changed us, taught us, made us stronger. We don't want war. Our message concluded. We've seen enough of it. But if you force our hand, understand this: humanity has never fought an interstellar war before. We don't know the rules. We don't follow conventions. And we absolutely refuse to lose. The silence that followed lasted exactly 17 minutes. I counted every second, wondering if I'd just witnessed humanity's last attempt at diplomacy. Then the response came, not in words, but in actions. One by one, their warships began to turn away from Earth. The massive fleet that had seemed so intimidating just hours before was retreating, their engines leaving trails of blue light against the black of space. Later, we intercepted communications between their ships. Translated, their assessment of humanity was fascinating. The species on the third planet is unique among all we've encountered. They have fought wars that would have destroyed most civilizations, yet they survive. They create weapons that could end their own existence, yet they persist. But most remarkably, they choose peace while maintaining the capacity for tremendous violence. Such a species cannot be conquered. They can only be destroyed entirely, and the cost of such destruction would be too high, even for the Empire. As I sit here now, recording this for posterity, I can't help but smile at that irony. The Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds before reaching Earth, yet they retreated from us, not because of our superior technology or military might, but because we showed them something they'd never seen before: a species that understood the true cost of war and chose peace anyway, while maintaining the absolute resolve to fight if necessary. They never came back, but they did send one final message: your species is either the greatest paradox in the galaxy or its greatest hope. We look forward to finding out which. Perhaps someday we'll show them the answer. But for now, we remain here on Earth, looking up at the stars with a new understanding. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't winning a war, but preventing one altogether. The day we sent our message to the Empire felt different from all others. The air in the command center was thick with anticipation as we gathered around the quantum communication array. Our carefully crafted message, encoded with cultural and emotional resonance, would either bridge the gap between our civilizations or spark a conflict that could reshape the galaxy. I watched the quantum signature pulse through the array, its blue light dancing across the faces of my colleagues. Dr. Hayes stood beside me, her fingers moving swiftly across the holographic interface as she made final adjustments to the transmission's emotional frequencies. The message was simple yet profound. We acknowledged the threat they feared, offered our unique perspective on galactic unity, and proposed a partnership of equals rather than conquerors and conquered. But just as we initiated the transmission, our deep space sensors detected something unprecedented. A massive gravitational wave rippled through the solar system, powerful enough to disturb the orbits of our outer planets. The Kuiper Belt facility's sensors went dark, and for 17 heart-stopping seconds, every quantum-based system in our solar system flickered like candles in a storm. When our systems came back online, we found ourselves facing a situation none of our simulations had prepared us for. The Empire's observation posts had vanished, leaving behind only trace quantum signatures that our scientists couldn't explain. More disturbing were the readings from our long-range sensors. They showed massive disturbances in the space between our galaxy and its nearest neighbors, as if something was moving through the void. Starsong arrived unannounced that evening, her crystalline form dimmed with what I'd learned to recognize as anxiety. "It's happening sooner than anyone predicted," she said, her voice resonating with harmonics that made the windows vibrate. "The barriers between galaxies are weakening. What the Empire feared, what they tried to prepare for, it's already here." The United Earth Council convened an emergency session as reports flooded in from our alien allies. Similar gravitational disturbances had been detected across the galaxy, and strange anomalies were appearing in deep space. The Empire's massive fleet, which had been maintaining positions along the galaxy's outer rim, had begun moving with apparent urgency toward the center of our spiral arm. As I stand here now, recording this update, humanity faces its greatest test. Our message to the Empire remains unanswered, lost perhaps in the chaos of whatever is emerging from the intergalactic void. The Galactic Coordination Office is working around the clock, coordinating with both independent worlds and Imperial sympathizers who share our concerns. The stars above Earth look different tonight, not because they've changed, but because we understand better what lurks between them. Humanity's first challenge was proving we could stand up to the Empire. Our next may be proving we can stand with them against something far worse. The question isn't whether we'll fight. It's whether we can forge the alliances we need before it's too late. As the ancient threat approaches, we're about to find out if humanity's unique combination of adaptability, determination, and wisdom is truly enough to change the course of galactic history. The next 48 hours changed everything we thought we knew about galactic warfare. The gravitational disturbances intensified, creating ripples in space-time that our scientists could barely comprehend. Through our quantum channels, desperate messages poured in from across the galaxy, both from independent worlds and, surprisingly, from imperial colonies that had broken communication protocols to reach out. The images they shared haunted our dreams. Vast regions of space were simply going dark, stars disappearing not with violence or explosion, but with an eerie silence that defied physics itself. It was as if portions of the galaxy were being carefully edited out of existence, leaving behind perfect voids that our sensors couldn't penetrate. I was reviewing these reports when the Empire finally responded to our message. Their transmission came through the quantum array with an intensity that nearly overloaded our systems. The message was brief. "You were right. We were wrong. Prepare for arrival." Before we could process what this meant, our deep space radar picked up a massive fleet dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of our solar system. This fleet was different from the one we'd faced before. Where the Empire's ships had been sleek and intimidating, these vessels showed the scars of recent battle. As they approached Earth, we detected ships of various designs among them, not just Imperial vessels, but craft from dozens of civilizations, all flying in formation under a common banner. Starsong's voice trembled as she identified the fleet. "The Imperial Defense Force," she explained. "They only unite like this when..." Her voice trailed off as our sensors detected something new. A disturbance in space so massive it made the previous anomalies seem trivial by comparison. The United Earth Council barely had time to convene before the Imperial Fleet's commander requested immediate landing clearance. The Space Force Command Center erupted into controlled chaos as we prepared to receive visitors we had once seen as enemies. Through it all, our deep space sensors continued tracking the approaching disturbance, its signature growing stronger with each passing hour. When the Imperial delegation arrived, they brought not demands but desperate intelligence. Their leader, a battle-scarred admiral named Vax, wasted no time with diplomacy. "What you predicted in your message is happening faster than even our worst models projected," he said, his translator struggling to keep up with his urgent tone. The ancient ones have returned, and they've evolved beyond our comprehension. The tactical displays he shared showed the true scale of our situation. The darkness consuming parts of the galaxy wasn't just absence. It was something alive, something conscious, something that didn't just destroy worlds but removed them from the very fabric of reality itself. The Empire's millennia of preparation had taught them only one thing: this enemy couldn't be fought with conventional weapons or tactics. "That's why we're here," Vax explained, his eyes meeting mine with an intensity that transcended species. "You showed us something we'd forgotten: the power of unpredictability, of adaptation, of choosing when not to fight. Our weapons are useless against them, but maybe your way of thinking isn't." As if to punctuate his words, the sensors screamed a new alert. The disturbance had reached the Kuiper Belt, and our outpost there had just gone dark. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply erased from existence, taking with it all the research we'd been conducting on Imperial technology. In the tense silence that followed, we all understood the truth. We had hours, maybe minutes, to figure out a way to face an enemy that the galaxy's most powerful civilization had failed to defeat for millions of years. And somehow, humanity's unique perspective was supposed to make the difference. The weight of countless civilizations' hopes pressed down on us as we gathered in the command center, Imperial warriors standing shoulder to shoulder with human scientists, all watching as the animated void crept closer to Earth. Our time for preparation was over. The moment had come to prove whether humanity truly was the galaxy's greatest paradox, or its last, best hope for survival. As we stood united in the command center, Imperial and human minds racing for solutions, Dr. Hayes made a startling discovery in the quantum communication patterns. The void wasn't just consuming space, it was communicating. The gravitational waves carried embedded information, a language so alien it had been dismissed as background radiation for millennia. "They're not attacking," she announced, her voice cutting through the tension. "They're transforming. Every section of space they've consumed shows traces of quantum entanglement. They're not destroying the galaxy. They're trying to change its fundamental nature." Her hands flew across the holographic display, showing patterns that made both human and Imperial scientists step back in shock. But before we could process this revelation, Starsong's crystalline form began resonating at frequencies that made every piece of equipment in the room vibrate. Her next words chilled us to the bone. "They remember us. The Centauri Collective. We were like them once. Before the Empire found us, before we chose physical form. We were beings of pure quantum consciousness." The Imperial Admiral's translator crackled as he spun to face her, his composed demeanor cracking for the first time. "Impossible," he said, but the data streaming across our screens supported her claim. The Centauri's crystalline forms weren't their original state. They were vessels, chosen eons ago when they decided to exist in our reality rather than transcend it. This revelation caused an immediate shift in our understanding. The Empire hadn't been preparing for an invasion. They'd been unknowingly preventing an ascension, keeping the galaxy locked in a state of physical matter when parts of it were naturally trying to evolve into something beyond our comprehension. A new alert blared through the command center. The void had reached Jupiter's orbit, but instead of consuming the gas giant, it seemed to be hesitating. Our quantum sensors detected complex patterns emerging in the space around the planet, patterns that eerily matched the basic structure of human DNA. "They're not targeting us," I realized, watching the data stream past. "They're studying us, everything the Empire feared about humanity, our adaptability, our unpredictability, our capacity for both violence and peace. It's exactly what they're looking for. We're not meant to fight them. We're meant to bridge the gap between physical reality and whatever exists beyond it." The Admiral's expression shifted from disbelief to something closer to awe as our sensors detected a new phenomenon. The void was changing, forming structures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. And at the center of it all, Jupiter's storms were beginning to move in patterns that defied natural law, as if the planet itself was trying to communicate. Starsong's form pulsed with intense light as she translated the patterns. "They're offering us a choice, not just humanity, but all species. We can remain as we are, bound to physical form, or we can learn to exist as they do, in a state of pure quantum consciousness. The Empire's greatest fear wasn't invasion. It was the fear of becoming something they couldn't control or understand. The weight of this choice pressed down on us as we watched the void continue its patient transformation of Jupiter's space. We had minutes, perhaps hours, to make a decision that would affect not just humanity, but every species in the galaxy. The Empire had spent millennia running from this moment, but now it was clear. You can't stop evolution by force. As I looked around the room at the faces of humans and aliens alike, I could see the same questions reflected in their expressions. Were we ready for such a profound transformation? Could we find a way to bridge both states of existence? And most importantly, would we have the wisdom to make the right choice when even the Empire, with all its power and knowledge, had chosen fear over transcendence? The void continued its steady approach toward Earth, not as a weapon of destruction, but as an offer of transformation that would either elevate us to a new state of existence or confirm that we weren't yet ready to take such a monumental step. Our response would determine not just our fate, but the very future of consciousness in our galaxy. In that crucial moment, as we faced the ultimate decision about humanity's future, Dr. Hayes made a connection that changed everything. The quantum patterns around Jupiter weren't just offering transformation. They were showing us a third option. The DNA-like structures weren't random. They were a blueprint for something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. "Look at the pattern," she said, her hands trembling as she manipulated the holographic display. "They're not asking us to choose between physical form and quantum consciousness. They're showing us how to exist in both states simultaneously. The very thing that made humanity unique. Our ability to balance opposing forces. It's exactly what the galaxy needs." The revelation sparked something in Starsong's crystalline form. The Centauri had chosen solid form ages ago, but they retained a fragment of their quantum consciousness. As we watched, her crystal structure began resonating with the void's frequencies, creating a harmonic bridge between physical and quantum states. Admiral Vax stepped forward, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. "All these millennia, we thought we were protecting the galaxy. Instead, we were preventing its natural evolution. But your species," he turned to face the humans in the room, "you showed us there's strength and transformation in becoming something new while retaining what you were." The void had reached Mars now, but instead of consuming it, the phenomenon began forming intricate patterns around the planet. A test run for what it offered Earth. Through our quantum arrays, we could detect similar patterns forming around thousands of worlds across the galaxy, each uniquely tuned to the species that inhabited them. In that moment, I made a decision that would reshape humanity's future. Using the quantum communication array, we transmitted a new message, not just to the void, but to every species in the galaxy. We proposed a gradual transformation, a careful balance between physical existence and quantum transcendence. Humanity would help guide this evolution, using our unique adaptability to bridge the gap between states of being. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The void's advance halted, and the patterns around Mars shifted, becoming more ordered, more deliberate. Through the quantum network, we received responses from countless civilizations, all accepting this middle path we proposed. But the real surprise came from Jupiter, the massive gas giant, which had been absorbing quantum energy for hours, suddenly erupted in a display of light that our sensors could barely process. The planet wasn't just responding to the void. It was becoming a natural converter, a physical anchor point that could help species transition between states of existence. The Empire's massive fleet, which had been holding position near Earth, began to detect similar transformations in their own ships. The quantum consciousness was teaching us how to modify our technology, allowing us to create vessels that could traverse both physical space and the quantum realm. Then came the twist none of us had expected. As the transformation began, we discovered that Earth itself had been preparing for this moment for millions of years. The mysterious quantum fluctuations in our planet's core, long dismissed as natural phenomena, were actually ancient seeds of consciousness waiting for humanity to evolve enough to understand them. We weren't just facing a choice about our future. We were fulfilling a destiny written into the very rocks of our world. Earth wasn't just humanity's cradle. It was an incubator, deliberately placed here eons ago to nurture a species that could bridge the gap between realities. As I record this final moment, the transformation has already begun. Humanity isn't leaving its physical form behind, but we're not staying purely physical either. We're becoming something new, quantum anchors, beings who can exist in both states and help others do the same. The Empire's fear of extinction has transformed into excitement about evolution, and the ancient quantum beings have found the partners they spent millennia searching for. The stars above Earth look different now, shimmering with both physical light and quantum potential. We've discovered that the galaxy wasn't facing a threat of invasion or extinction. It was experiencing birth pains of a new state of existence, and humanity, the species that once warned an empire to run, has become the midwife to the galaxy's transcendence. 10 years have passed since that pivotal moment when humanity helped bridge the gap between physical existence and quantum consciousness. Earth has become a beacon for species across the galaxy, a living example of how to exist in both states simultaneously. Our cities now shimmer with both concrete reality and quantum potential, their structures seamlessly blending the tangible and intangible. The Empire, once our potential adversary, has transformed into something entirely different. Their vast fleet now serves as a network of quantum anchors, helping species across the galaxy navigate their own transformations. Admiral Vax, who once came to Earth expecting to fight an ancient enemy, now leads an initiative to discover and nurture other developing species who might help further expand our understanding of existence. Starsong and the Centauri Collective have reconnected with their quantum origins while maintaining their crystalline forms, becoming living bridges between states of being. Their insights have proven invaluable as we continue to explore the possibilities of dual existence. They've established learning centers across the galaxy, teaching others how to maintain their cultural identity while embracing transformation. Perhaps the most remarkable change has been in how we view ourselves. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't our capacity for violence or our ability to wage war. It was our endless adaptability, our drive to find new solutions, and our ability to walk the line between opposing forces without losing our essence. We didn't need to warn the Empire to run. We needed to show them how to stay and grow. Dr. Hayes continues her work with the quantum communication patterns, discovering new layers of complexity in the language of consciousness itself. Her team has learned that every species adds its own unique harmony to the quantum symphony of the galaxy, creating a complexity that enriches both states of existence. The void that once terrified the Empire now serves as a teaching ground, where species can safely experiment with different levels of quantum integration. Jupiter, our solar system's unexpected transformer, has become a pillar of this new galactic order, its storms dancing with patterns that guide others through their own evolutionary journeys. Looking back at our first contact with the Empire, I can't help but smile at how far we've come. We thought we were facing a choice between submission and extinction, when in reality, we were being offered an opportunity to become something greater than either the Empire or the quantum beings had imagined possible. Our warning to run became an invitation to evolve together. As I finish this record of humanity's journey from planetary civilization to galactic mediators, I'm watching my granddaughter play in our quantum-enhanced garden. She phases naturally between states, her laughter echoing in both physical and quantum spaces. For her generation, the barrier between states that once terrified the Empire is nothing more than another natural force to be understood and embraced. The stars above Earth still shine with their ancient light, but now we can see the quantum patterns between them, the complex dance of consciousness that makes our galaxy truly alive. We've learned that the universe wasn't waiting for warriors or conquerors. It was waiting for bridges, for species that could help connect all forms of existence into something greater than the sum of its parts. And so our story, which began with a warning to an empire, ends with an invitation to the future. Humanity continues to evolve, to explore, and to help others find their own path through the quantum veil. We've discovered that the greatest adventures don't come from running from what we fear, but from embracing what we can become. The galaxy watches Earth now, not with fear or anticipation of war, but with hope for what we might discover next. And we watch back, ready to help guide the next species that looks up at the stars and wonders what lies beyond their world. After all, that's what bridges are for, connecting what was with what could be.